So we'll go ahead and we have our first wire set up in the holders here. You can use a set of holders like this, or you can lay it on a table, whatever works best to hold things in place. If you have a spare person, they can hold the two ends. Just make sure you keep everyone else's fingers away from the actual hot parts. Remember that the heat will travel up the wires a bit, so if you're going to have someone help hold, make sure they're far enough away that they're not going to get too warm. Okay. So what we'll do, put the soldering iron up against our joint, let it warm up a little bit. We'll just place the solder right next to it. And as it gets hot, it will just flow right into the wire. And all you need is enough solder to make the wire silver. You don't have to get blobbed, just enough that everything's silver. Once that cools down, okay, there's your first completed soldering joint. Again, not too much solder, not too much heat. We managed to do it without melting the plastic on either side of the wire, which is one of the goals. So we'll go ahead with that. So the next thing, go ahead and take this out of our handy dandy holder, is we're going to put our connectors for connecting to the batteries on the other end of both our power wire and then the silver wire here. And to help us do that, we're going to do what's called tinning the wires. To tin the wires, we're basically going to just put solder on the wires, which will keep them stiff as well as keep all the strands together. Same process, put the iron on the wire and let the solder flow through it. And we'll do that for the other one. Okay. Now that those are tinned, make sure you take your rubber boots and put them on before you put the clips on. Now that we have our rubber gator boots on, we'll take each one of these alligator clips and feed the wire up and then around the screw on each of the clips. Now, because we tinned the wire is going to be pretty stiff as we do that, which will help hold it in place. You can use a pair of the pliers to help shape it, and then go ahead and tighten the screw. Now at this point, that's all that needs to be done to secure that wire to the clip. If you feel like you can add some solder to that, but it's not needed, and it's kind of hard with these big metal clips. Then go ahead and slide the boot over. We have our first connector done. Go ahead and do the second with the power. Okay, now that we have the battery end of the power cable together, we're going to go ahead and wire up the power cables for inside of our control box. For this part, we're going to need the red and black wires that are in our kits. What we'll want to do is cut them each in half, not once, but twice, giving us 4 black wires and 4 red wires. Now what we'll want to do is strip the wire on each end of each of those wires, 1/2 inch on one side, 1/4 inch on the other. And go ahead and do that for all 8 of these wires. If during your stripping of the wires you accidentally cut them or break too many strands, there's plenty of length left here, so feel free to just cut it off and restrip them. Okay, and our last wire here. Okay, so now we're going to take the 4 black wires, the longer stripped ends that we did, place them all together, and twist. twist all their ends together, bringing those into one group. Okay, we'll do the same with the reds. Okay. And we'll take the other end that we did not put the connectors on of our speaker wire. Again, we'll split that apart. Only need to strip it apart about 2 inches. Take a 1/2 inch off of each of those. Okay. And then, if you remember, we put the fuse and red binder clip on the gold wire, so we'll go ahead and twist together the red wires with the gold. And then we'll put the black wires on the silver, and then we'll solder those together. Now, the more wires we have in one of our soldering joints, take a little bit more time for them to get up to temperature. But again, all it takes is enough to hold everything together, stop it from falling apart. Now that we have those joints soldered, we're going to take a little of the electrical tape, just tape over each of these. The solder will hold them together. The tape is more to keep the wires from touching each other and causing a short circuit in the box.